today on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info Lagos. Good morning to you. Welcome to Dailies today. That's right. It's a Friday, the 30th of May, 2025. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And ideally, it should be payday.
It should be payday, Abby?
It should be payday. Morning, everybody. My name is Jimi. Disu. Reminds me of when I was a clerk in the 70s. I was a clerk in the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah.
And there was no time to look forward to payday because we were paid twice a month. Then we were paid twice. We were paid mid-month, and then we were paid at the end of the month, and we were paid cash.
Oh.
And there was no fixed date, but you didn't have to worry because you just get into the office and they will say, "Disu, what they've started paying." And you go there and have this federal civil service. It was so, and you would spend this money. You keep spending and spending and spending. It won't ever end.
Yeah.
I even got to dodgy.
What?
Yeah, I got to dodgy. I think I got to dodgy. I got about 7 months pay or some funny thing like
what?
that. And went and bought myself a cassette player.
A cassette player.
In those days, yes, and my mom was up in arms. Akpa. I had an account in Barclays Bank, you know. Youth call is the same thing. Youth call, you'll be with your friends, say, "Oh, mama, they don't pay 200 naira."
Wow, as a call member.
Yeah, as a call member, yes, 200 naira. But you would never finish spending it. And that would include having one big brown bottle every evening. It was standard. In those days, we was on hotel down the road in Benin. They were the only ones who had a video cassette. So every evening they play a movie. You go there, but you must buy one bottle. My friends would buy green, I would buy brown. At daycare. Sometimes, and at the end of the month, you still have a balance. We had this card. That life used to be good. I just.
I mean, you know what came to mind when you were saying all of these things,
Yeah.
like. So you see why quite a number of the young people will not understand the pains of seeing Nigeria to have worked before.
Yes, they don't understand. They don't. A lot of them, particularly for me, of course, because I'm out there, they think it's some deep-seated hatred for this and that and that. It's not. It's that the pain is that these same people who had that opportunity are denying them. Maybe it's after I've long gone, they'll say, Adebu Baba, like just like Fela now. Now everybody likes to listen to Fela's music. Maybe after I'm long gone, that's when they'll say, Baba, this Baba talked about this thing. It's painful. I went to school with ease. But let's go, Jerry.
Lagos, you're welcome to the show once again. You can watch the show on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3.
I don't feel like working this morning. Can you
Thank God it's Friday.
You read the news and analyze it.
The beautiful thing about today is that it's Friday. We won't get to analyze again tomorrow. That's a beautiful thing.
But I think that my subject for tomorrow is this 69-year-old pa who wants to ride from Northern Ireland. Yeah, let's go.
Let's start with this one in the Nation newspaper. It's on their discuss page in the Nation. Our journey not over, but direction is clear. That's the story.
So we now have an idea what kept the papers late yesterday. It was about 5 times, full of ads. Do you see the papers downstairs?
Yes.
That's why they were late. And the Nation, of course, carries the president's speech in full. Of course, you know who owns the Nation. You have a fair idea. If you don't know, you don't know. But the speech is okay as far as speeches go. Usually speeches are full of self-glorification, figures that you are not particularly sure of. So what we had to do, because of work, I had to browse through all this. The president is laying claim to a few achievements here, and it talks about the future. But what caught my mind here is this, one of the things that caught my mind, this paragraph, and it says, agriculture and food security are top priorities of our renewed hope agenda. We have launched aggressive initiatives to boost local food production under this security dispensation, but let's go ahead. Boost local food production, support farmers, and stabilize food prices. I have heard, though, that the price of rice is coming down, if anything, so
Yes.
let's see how that goes. We have also invested in mechanized farming by procuring thousands of tractors, other farming tools, and fertilizers. Under the Renewed Hope agenda, the federal government has continued with major road construction and rehabilitation projects across all the geopolitical zones, Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, dual carriageway, the 9th Mile Otukpo Makodi Road, Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, and so on and so forth. We have also launched initiatives to improve electricity generation by upgrading generation and transmission infrastructure and investing in off-grid solar energy to power our homes. Why is the government laying claim to off-grid solar energy to power our homes? Why?
So I'm guessing I think that it's because they've reduced duties on
duties. Okay,
Yes.
I needed clarification on that, and also because even the state house itself is powered by to a large extent.
To a large extent, will be powered. I'm not sure they've done it.
Now this one caught me. The Nigerian diaspora plays a vital role in our national transformation. Their expertise, investment, and global perspectives are key to shaping the future we seek. In recognition, the government has introduced policies like the diaspora bond and the non-resident bank verification number to make it easier for Nigerians abroad to invest, engage, and contribute meaningfully to the nation's progress. Then there's a story of something that comes out of this box. It talks about a motherland festival which will bring together voices from across the continent and diaspora in a decisive moment of unity and purpose, affirming that Nigeria is not only a leader in Africa, but a committed global partner, ready to engage, inspire, and lead. This is in complete total contravention to what is going on. Look at what's going on in our region. The enfant terrible that is making life difficult for our brothers is the person that we embrace. All these things have to be in sync. All these things have to be in sync. I will never forget, and I will forever thank Obasanjo for what he did when he was a military president in his first coming. Nigeria was in the leadership of the fight for the liberation of South Africa. In fact, we became a frontline state in spite of the distance from where the action was going on. And those who remember will know what wound we inflicted on the British then, when in one fell swoop, Obasanjo acquired BP and he became AP. And that is why till today, amongst those who know in South Africa, Nigeria is regarded as a leader, but we've gradually lost the position. Our foreign policy is completely uncoordinated. You can't compare the foreign policy we have now with that we had during Gawana. We had Joe Gaba, right up there in the United Nations. So I think the president needs to tinker with this. He needs to bring from retirement the likes of Professor Bolaji Akinwumi to quickly devise a policy that will put us there up front. And he has to make that sacrifice. He might have to sacrifice his personal friendship with this gentleman across the border, who in himself is facing fire at the moment. The friendship with the nations, our position in the nation is not dependent on our president's friendship. And I don't think that as a nation we should be brought into that kind of equation. And the president should know that generally in the world at large, there are no friends, but there are interests. And the president should know that our own interests as a nation come first. He will have to sacrifice his personal. I'm talking specifically of the relationship we have with France. Nigeria is no matter the number of motherland festivals that you have, you will not take a leadership position if you don't identify with the new wave that we have of liberation of the continent. That's where most our people are more educated, they are more exposed. Everybody is looking towards liberating Africa from the hands of colonial powers. And if we don't do that, things like a motherland festival will be a drain pipe. In fact, I doubt if we can afford it now. We'll be like somebody who cannot feed his family, but has shut down Tafawa Balewa because he wants to have a naming ceremony. That's what there's. Yorubas have a word for it. Either be akpa. You know, Yoruba has this. You will know the sound from the sound of what you are saying. You will know ode akpa. We will just be like spent. So my contention is that the president has to has to go and bring learned people and devise a major policy that is in sync with the new thinking in Africa, or else we'll be lagging behind. Now Nigerians are despised in most countries. Unfortunately, we have to tell ourselves the truth. I'm a Nigerian. We are not liked from our personal behavior and some of the things that, even the way our leaders and so on and so forth, we are not liked in most Africa. We need to reverse that. Our salvation does not lie in Western powers. Our salvation lies in ourselves. For as long as we are listening to a lot of these IMF, World Bank, and so on and so forth, as your mainstay, your main thinking, you're going to have a problem. Aside from that, I think the speech was okay. But a speech is a speech. To walk the talk is the major problem that we have. But he still has another 2 years to go. I will advise the president to put his leg on the throttle in this third year, because it will be a decisive year. Forget all what you see in the papers. The issue of whether you get re-elected is not that of analysis on the paper or on the radio. It's how people feel within themselves. It's not by rolling out figures and GDP has gone from 2% to 8%. It's not about that. It's how people feel. And right now, Nigerians, majority, me inclusive, we are hungry because we're not even talking of ordinary survival. Every morning when I wake up and I thank God not because I'm alive, because I will die one day anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal about being alive. But I thank God that I am alive and well, because if I wasn't well, what would I do? Ask yourself that question. Let's go on to the next one.
We're talking about what you said about what the government is doing or has done. Mohammed says government provision of tractors to farmers is unnecessary. He said farmers require access to credit to facilitate independent procurement, improving access for the tractors.
Who's that?
His name is Mohammed Adamu.
I agree with Mohammed. And because anything that goes under the label of government providing is usually diverted. So on paper, yes, in fact, there's a story there about this money something that Buhari did way back in his time. And the World Bank reported that I don't even think we achieved 30%. We don't have that structure and mindset for government to get involved in any dispute. Rather, we should have common policies that are that are available to all, and not necessarily government, like he said, government giving tractors and so on. It's not for government to give. Government
has been doing that forever.
They've been doing that forever, but you won't see the end of those tractors.
Yes.
When was the last time
we don't see these tractors? We don't.
Oh dear me.
Let's go to our next story in the Guardian newspaper. We'll drop the Nation for now. 235 vehicles impounded as LASMA begins zero tolerance campaign.
I'm happy to hear that the campaign for discipline on our roads is now taking some ground. But I want to challenge the LASMA GM. In fact, I would like him to come here and explain to us why, as at 2 p.m. yesterday, between the day before, between Aja and this place, I almost got run off the road 5 times by siren blowing vehicles that had no registration number, and last mark people were there directing traffic, directing them to move on. You see, let me make the GM's job easier for him. What you need to make your job successful in traffic management is simple optics. If not that of a last man chasing a downfall, you will come back to those. You need to enforce the law where it concerns VIPs. And by the way, I still saw one VIP yesterday with two. I think there were 2 policemen in his so-called escort vehicle. The man's car, of course, did not have any number. We need to know what you need to set an example. First of all, once you go for the big wigs and make an example out of them, the others will fall in line. Traffic management is very simple. It's to work on the psychology of the driver. Let me say it in broken English so that the downfall driver, as he's driving, will hear. They never burn the person. Where you go there for road for UK, you go jump traffic light, they never burn them because he knows he'll be caught. As simple as that. There are no 2 ways about it. He knows that whether he's a billionaire or he's a truck driver, once you are caught with a traffic offense. But here, enforcement is the key. And what I'm told quietly on the side by a few last mile people who are ready to talk to you is that the politicians are the ones who make it most difficult for them. They can't control. It's difficult for you to even arrest a downfall driver. You get a phone call. The government's romance with the NURTW members have made it difficult for those who want to even respect or fear anybody. It also hasn't been helped by the kind of compromise that we have. Is anybody going to tell me that you don't know what Agwan, let me use Ratata's language, what Agwan when it comes to traffic management, money changing hands in public? So last man have a great job to do, and it's not just PR exercise and releasing memos to come to memos on newspapers and on radio. That's not the issue. We want to see the real enforcement, and I tell you that what makes it easier for you is to be ready to set an example. You need the governor's buy-in on this. The party itself should tell its members. But it's difficult. When you've been eating from the same pot, it's going to be difficult. Have you ever sat back, Sheriff, to wonder how much goes down in cash? Not in cash, in this racket of collecting money from downfall and whatever. Has it ever occurred to you how much is going down in that exercise?
There's another racket. They catch you, they take you to somewhere.
Yes.
They say that you better pay something now, because if they book you in, that's the end you're going to pay. Then they have this POS guy somewhere.
Yes.
They will now direct you to go and pay to the guy.
I think he happened to Usa one time.
Then you pay to the guy.
He happened to Usa.
And that's it. You have no proof that you've paid to them.
You know, it's Nigeria, such a tough country, I tell you. But we can't continue to live like we're in a jungle. Anyway, the last man has started a new campaign for all it's worth. How you can help us is you have your cameras. Can you please help us, those of you, and put it in the social media, vehicles coming one way, motorbikes coming one way, VIPs with siren. Let us start a public campaign and help LASMA achieve sanity on our Lagos roads. Okay, because obviously it's not something they can do alone. And I do feel sorry for this. And would the Lagos State government please provide raincoats for their LASMA officials during the rain? It's so sad to see them in their uniforms in the rain, no raincoats, no boots.
Thank you for that call. That call is very, very necessary.
No raincoat, no boots. You have to be, for you to put somebody out there, you have to kit him and back him up with a lot of authority. But they too should be ready not to compromise. But don't forget the theory I said about beg, borrow, or steal. When a man has a statutory responsibility and he can't get it legally, it becomes beg, borrow, or steal, or grab and run away with it.
Let's move to our next story in the Vanguard newspaper. This story says, Presidency, Atiku, Afenifere, MBF, others clash over Tinubu's midterm report.
Yeah, okay, so everybody is giving his views. Of course, Atiku, being in the opposition, is not likely to give the president any credit. That's the way it goes. But if you want to read the story, I'm sure you can almost imagine what is being said here. For example, it says that economic reforms are biting harder. Afenifere now. I don't know which of the Afenifere is now. I don't know whether it is the Fashion Roti faction or the Adebanjo faction. Maybe we should call that PRO back here.
Okay.
Or you don't like to go back here. The Middle Belt Forum says that the first 2 years have been disastrous. Claim of economic revival, insult to suffering Nigerians. Wabara, democracy thriving in Nigeria under Tinubu, says the presidency. Our policies unstoppable, irreversible. APC. That's a sad statement to make. If you say your policies are irreversible, that means that some of your bad policies, we have to learn to live with it forever, as it were, which is putting us in a state of hunger. I better do this now. Where's the anointing is there?
Incidentally, I saw a video of one Yoruba Ifa priest yesterday, and he was talking about, people doing like this when they see sacrifice on the road, at the road junction. I was like, it's a waste of time. Like, the sacrifice was not meant for you. So what are you doing?
But this is irreversible something, and I reject it. I reject it. Atiku says that Tinubu's government has failed Nigerians. And someone says Tinubu's debt plan, he says, is reckless and not sustainable. The State House presidency issued a statement on reactions to the borrowing plan of the government, and whoever wrote that State House statement must think he's talking to school children. Oh, you don't understand the economic policies. That we have said we intend to borrow doesn't mean we have borrowed. What kind of logic is that? What kind of logic is that? And you write an insult. I don't know. I don't know who puts these media teams together and what their background really is. Your job is to mend fences and build bridges. Anybody who criticizes the president becomes an enemy. I don't get it. In fact, you should be going after those perceived enemies more than rallying around your friends, but they don't understand. This. But so there's that. There's the NNPP. I didn't know. I've never heard of this party before. This is the New Nigeria People's Party.
That's the Kwankwaso's party.
Kwankwaso. Oh, yeah, NNPP, yes. And it says 26 years of civil rule, no distinction between military and democracy. Let me say, from my own personal experience, I have more difficulty doing my job now than I had during Babangida's time. I don't know why. It could be perception, it could be real, but I felt more comfortable at that time than I do now doing my own job. Afenifere says that Tinubu's economic reforms biting harder, and the INC flees Tinubu's midterm reports. What do you have on the inside?
It's something we've tried before.
Okay, the last month.
Okay. Let's quickly take a look at
just to lighten things up. We want to take you through the entertainment page of The Nation. Okoroji holds 2025 Custom Week. Tony Okoroji is still around. Good. Sorry, I don't mean I want him dead or anything. I just didn't know Deyemi Okolawon opens up on experience in Japanese film feature. A film industry is growing in leaps and bounds. And who is this? Tenny reflects on creative journey. Do you know who Tenny is?
Yes, of course.
Who is he?
She's a singer.
Which song does he sing? Sing it for us.
For your case, you.
What's your corner? Is that how she sing?
For your case, you.
For your case, you.
I go. Something for your case. I go da for your case.
That's how she sing. I go da for your case. Good news for the older folks. 45 years after, Ayinla Omowura's legacy echoes through Akpala rhythm. And Quadry releases Usain Bolt. Segun Akoni gets art acclaimed award in Canada. And there's also the story about a DJ Gav Pop set to host 7th edition of Party Invasion. They should invite me. I want to see what goes on in places like this. I want to be going out now, move my daddy, and eat free food and free drink. Ayode Diakinde from Chorister to Afrobeat Dreams Chaser, and so on and so forth. For your case, you. It reminds me of that song, good old song. You see, some of these new songs always still reflect
the old ones,
old rhythm. Okay. For your case, that I sang, it reminds me of a song, Calabao, Calabao.
What song is that?
It's a hell Ambrose Campbell. In the 50s, I find, and like there's a guy who played for Fela, I've forgotten his name, Showboy, we call him Showboy, he's baritone saxophonist. I saw one interview, he granted that.
Okay.
Most of the songs that you have today are lifted from previous songs.
They sampled those songs
without recognition, and that's why I forever will respect Davido for what he did for Bright Chimeze. And I'd like to even bring Bright Chimeze to the studio one of these days. It should be fun.
Yeah.
He recognized and he gave.
Oh, what did it happen now? No bonus for all my lines. No panic, as MTN don't carry better gist come. Every 6 minutes you talk, MTN go dash you 3 extra minutes. Fiam to enter MTN better gist. Dial *123.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.